Sack Russell T Davies. Sack Jane Tranter. Sack Phil Collins.
Hi, Sam.
Hey, sorry. I was in the middle of something. It's just... I'm doing that a lot these days.
Right off the bat, huh? We couldn't not be antagonistic for literally a second, huh?
You caught me. Ladies and gentlemen, faithful viewer, we're watching Russell Davis's The Giggle.
Why? I don't know.
Well, you said we should watch The Giggle. So, in a sentence, my initial takeaway when this finished airing was, oh, piss off, Russell, with an eye roll. That's the review. We're done here.
I feel like I just don't have the energy to be angry anymore at this point.
What a fun, exciting start for our commentary, 1 hour commentary track on The Giggle.
Whoa! Let's talk about something positive, which is our good American friend Neil Patrick Harris.
Our good, uncontroversial friend Patrick Harris.
You couldn't for a second. Okay.
I've got no chill. This is a challenging piece of TV. It's very in your face at all times. So what? Am I meant to just be placid? Am I meant to be neutral? I'm suddenly meant to take 2008 nostalgia, laid down like a dog in the street, Dan?
According to much of
Series 1 was the first series ever being invented.
Ugh.
I'm ready to fight.
I know you are. You know what? No, I'm shelving Neil for a second, because I feel like there's a broader discussion to be had, because the specials are worthy of discussion, in my opinion. I know you and I were on relatively the same page with them, and that page was, oh no.
David Tennant's back. Oh.
Yeah.
Catherine Tate's back. Phil Collins. Beep the Meep is back. Now we're
Exactly.
talking. Now we're talking. It's absolutely fine, though, because he's going to show us how much he's evolved as a writer since. So it's going to be a completely different show, Dan.
See, you joke, but that was my cope at first. Pretend Russell T Davies never wrote for the show, and it's announced after Chris Chibnall that the It's a Sin guy is writing Doctor Who.
We've all tried that cope.
I feel like it was a valid cope. Unfortunately, Russell made the active decision to bring not an ounce of that energy with him to Doctor Who.
Camden! Something makes me think Doctor Who's gonna go next door, buy himself some One Piece packs. I come here after work all the time now. I'm so mad that I missed them filming this. There's a big weird shop front there called Cyberdog, and that sent the internet crazy. For exactly 10 seconds online, the Cybermen were back and the internet had already worked out the plot.
Everyone started thinking they're right, all the time, and they won't change their mind.
Like, now I'm in benefit of the doubt mode. Like, now I'm like, you know what, maybe this isn't just Russell being terminally online. Maybe this is just a villain plan with some social commentary, and my heart will be broken in mere moments.
Yes. By a specific line in general. I think it's strange that Russell Davies... It's one of the stranger uses of a classic villain, right? You get the toy maker and you immediately think, oh, right, I'll use the aesthetic. But matching him with this plan, which involves television and cancel culture, is just odd. The gamification of internet discourse. I understand what he means. But does the average viewer... Will my dad understand why the toy maker is cancelling people online? And why everyone is rioting?
We complain a lot, and we will continue to complain, that Russell T Davies is in fact older than the dinosaurs, and it shows in these episodes.
No!
But the weird mix is that he is also terminally online. In a way I truly don't think I've ever seen a writer of mainstream television like this be. Like, this is the energy that you typically see out of a CW show. I haven't watched the new season yet, so I don't know. I mean, I know, because you people wouldn't shut up about it on the Twitters, and I was not avoiding it.
In fairness, that was how it was designed to be consumed.
Yep. At some point, it was literally just curiosity was why I wasn't watching. It's like, you know what? I just want to see this whole season expand via people reacting to it on Twitter. And I feel like I got nothing, and I'm talking over Mel Bush.
Hello, Mel. It's Melanie Bush. From the 80s. Yeah, all right, thanks.
I've said this a lot, but why? Out of all the companions, like, nobody's favorite. Like, let's be
You
honest.
can make a case on paper that this is a really great change to the formula, that things from the past can not be made a big deal of, and so past elements can just pop up very, very casually. And that can be like a new status quo. That's cool. Bonnie Langford is a bit of a household name these days. She's done lots of work since Doctor Who, so I understand. But he has to have a big monologue about Sabalom fucking Glitz.
I feel like that was the first time I really started breaking. I was like, Sabalom Glitz has come up in the new show. Where are we?
There are two kinds of fan. You, getting mad at the Vlinks on Twitter. Me, getting mad at Melanie Bush on Twitter.
Who gets mad at the Vlinks? The Vlinks is beautiful.
That does seem like the one time Russell was like used the Terminally Online post-canon, post-fandom, and actually made a really funny joke out of it. The Vlinks is funny.
Right.
It feels beneath us to actually comment on it, though. Like, we're just playing into his hands. And we don't need to do that because immediately we're being thrown at a nuts plot. I think this plot...
Oh, boy.
I don't... It's got nothing to it. It's got no drama in it whatsoever. It isn't suitable for the villain on display, which is going to be a problem next year as well. When we're in this unit building, this is all the characters work out the plot in 10 seconds flat room. Because Donna is about to crack the mystery on site. A very weird mystery, a very weird villain plan. She's going to crack it on fucking sight.
I've seen you walk. I've seen you walking. Don't deny it!
Can I just say right now, this poor actress. Like, playing Kate Stewart is a thankless job on the best of days. Like this is a legacy character who has yet to be more than a legacy character.
It's probably given her the first bit of meat she's had to work with since season 8.
Like, let's just imply that she's always secretly holding back the ableism. Like, all the time. Like, no one forced her to say that. It just made her think she's right. She's always thinking this. This is part of the character now.
Call me Bozo the Clown, but I've always loved Kate. I think this moment is good. As long as there isn't a 3-minute behind-the-scenes clip about him saying why he made this brave decision. Russell T Davis' scripts, they do lecture you. His doctors will be like, the stupid human race done it again.
All the anger out there on the street, the lies, the righteousness, that's human, that's you, that's who you are. Using your intelligence to be stupid, poisoning the world, and hating each other. You've never needed any help with that.
I don't believe it. I don't feel it. It doesn't feel earned. It just feels like I'm being spoken down to.
We've had so many years to establish that, like, yes, I get it, social media bad, but, like, we've had so many years to establish that social media and humanity are, like, shockingly separate entities. Like, people in real life just don't act like people on Twitter. I know that it feels that way sometimes, but, like, they just don't. There's a lot wrong with normal people. Certainly, I'm not a boomer, okay? I will complain about the kids today, but not like this.
Reading the mood of the country, I always like that. I like Russell scripts that do that. I just wish it had any place in this one, and it just doesn't.
I feel bad because my biggest problem with Chibnall for years was how just insular and apolitical he was. Like, I've complained so much that friggin' Brexit happened while he was on board and he did not a goddamn thing with it. Like, anyone else would have brought us back to Peladon, you know? Like, it was right there.
Don't frame me with a good time. La 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 la.
Yeah, I guess we do have to pull the Band-Aid now, like, because you already said it, this plan from this villain, what is happening?
Drive the human race mad with a nursery tune in every screen.
Like, honestly, it is a Doctor Who-ass plan, but it's like, the character who's doing it is throwing me off. Like, I guess we should just say it, because I know we're holding on to it, because in terms of the plan, the execution of the plan, add the performance attached to the person doing the plan, this is just a master story, is it not?
Well, yes, and that's going to be proven later when he does his Saxon Master Dance.
Ugh.
Oh, not a fan. Not a fan. Okay.
I mean, okay, I feel like my ugh could be misconstrued. We'll talk about it when it happens, but
I think Sookie Bill is a good instinct. You learn about a cutesy gothic piece of Britain history like that, and you think, oh yeah, that's Doctor Who.
yeah, no, I kind of don't hate the plan.
Oh, no, I do. I really do.
Like, this is pure Doctor Who.
It's just a straightforward arpeggio. Everyone knows arpeggios.
Russell's just not very interested in it, and that's why we're getting it out of the way here and now. There's going to be no mystery. The gang are just going to be like, right, this is what he's doing. This is going to lead us to just having a couple conversations in a room with the toy maker.
And that's the problem with all three specials, isn't it?
He's kind of post Doctor Who. He's sort of post the status quo, and he's post plot. It does seem that way increasingly.
Well, the issue too is that, yeah, because the mystery of 14 is so completely separate every time.
Oh my. Okay, sorry. I remembered why I hate this episode.
Yeah, like in Wild Blue Yonder, when 14 and Donna are talking about the flux and like his mental state there, and it has not a goddamn thing to do with anything, and it barely comes up ever again in that episode.
The entire villain plot only makes sense through a gag that comes later. The gamification of cancel culture, with the cancelling and the tweeting and the expose and the dispatches episodes. It's like, oh my god, Russell.
Patience, Davis, patience.
It doesn't go together. That's what I'm saying.
Like, Wild Blue Yonder, debatably, is about the anxiety of the show going on. Whereas, like, the adaptation of the Star Beast, love that he did it. What does it have to do with anything?
The mystery is that there's no mystery, and the arc is that there's no arc. The Doctor regenerated into 2008 nostalgia because 2008 nostalgia is quite good, Russell says. It feels like coming home. It's very self-indulgent.
I'm actually really happy to have that part of the show behind.
I think I'd be a lot more into some Russell T Davies nostalgia if we hadn't had Chibnall aping him very, very recently.
This is the fundamental problem, is that, like, yes, I didn't like Chibnall either, but I feel like retreating into the past is just the obvious instinct and one that had to be avoided. Like, I feel like I am the Internet Soul Series 11 defender. Like, yeah, the scripts weren't good, but the direction was the right one to take. And then we completely abandoned ship.
Yes, that's why I've landed.
Went into nostalgia, and then that didn't work, and we just went further into nostalgia.
Yeah.
And yes, you know what? I will take responsibility. This is my fault. I was part of the anti-Moffat brigade when it was on. We didn't know what we had. I didn't know. I'm so sorry.
It's very paternalistic. The fact that the big man has come back and instantly he's restating himself and saying that 2008 is the show's home. It's self-indulgent, but also, like, is he wrong? If you look at the cultural consciousness, if you look at it as more than just generic fans, he might have a point. Because the show hasn't been able to move on. It did briefly, but ultimately he's proven right. So the fact that he is back means that maybe you should go back to Davidson and Catherine Tate. You know, fuck it. If culture has grown this stagnant, let the guy do what he wants to do with it. That's the nicest read I can give it. If he really is Big Boss Man and Big Boss Man writes the good episodes when you were 12, maybe he can do that again. People like Russell T Davies.
Yes, they do, but like, go back to the Star Beast specifically. I did like the Star Beast. I thought it's the one that made the strongest argument for the return, just in terms of fixing Donna's ending.
By making the same exact mistake again?
Yes. And also, you know, Hellbent exists, and already criticized that ending far stronger than the Star Beast ever does. And Guten Tag, would you like the balls?
Word, oh the word, I am eating all the ham and the scenery.
Like, he is a fun presence in an episode that's strangely inert. So I give it that.
Yeah. It's an aggressive episode, I called it earlier, and it is largely in part to Neil Patrick Harris doing unreserved ham.
Yeah.
And I think the second you clock that and you're like, all right, I see what you're doing here with this. I think it's very fun. He's humouring this little British TV show.
I give it credit too. It's like, I guess that this episode fails to make an argument for bringing the toy maker back, but it is kind of fun to comment on the cultural appropriation of a British man doing
Orientalism, yes. I really like that Russell has taken a racist character from the past and been like, well, yeah, he's the villain. Let's dial it up even more and show why it wasn't okay then by putting it to practice now, by showing you how stark and strange it is now. I think of that Looney Tunes disclaimer they would put before racially insensitive shorts. And it's simply something that a lot of popular media isn't doing at the minute. It's gutsy. It does also come under the same bracket as dead naming a character in the Star Beast. He's making these decisions on behalf of people. These big swings. He's the one who writes and signs off on them.
Because I've seen some things with you. I've seen Ood, Davros. I mean, the Adipose, for God's sake. But they had a sort of logic.
I think, line for line, this one feels rushed and constrained and strange. She's saying things as a mouthpiece for Russell that are completely unearned. She's jumping the plot ahead 5 steps, or she's saying,
Maybe that's why your old face came back. You're wearing yourself out.
and it's like, wait, no, he's not. He's been running around like a puppy for 3 episodes. The giggle marks the point where Russell Davis starts getting thick and fast with nonsense lines that are just nothing more than leaps of logic.
I cast that sword at the edge of the universe. I played a game and let him in.
Said plainly like it's obvious. Bonus points if it's a pun.
You're wearing yourself out.
Rewatching these specials, I was kind of taken aback by how thankless Catherine Tate's role in these 2 episodes are. Like, she's barely even playing Donna.
This one makes me so sad. She finds out that her best mate has lost so many things since she saw him last, and she gets like one shot, one cutaway of her reacting briefly, and she says, was all of that true? It's like, that's not Donna to me. Donna is the sort of character who wrestles with the plot, holds it still,
Yep.
and makes a fucking point. I love the sequence. I love the setting. It makes me sad that we're here for like 6 minutes.
Well, yeah, because this is the one part where it's actually a toy maker return. These are the shenanigans that he should be up to. We're bringing back this godlike game lover with a modern Who effects budget. Like, yes, this is the good shit. Give me more of this, please.
I've always said that the combination of David Tennant's scenery chewing, Murray Gold's bombast, and Russell Davis's direct, scary writing results in like some of the coolest threats we've ever seen in the show. Those 3 elements combined, you can make me scared of anything. And when we're in this corridor, in these rooms, I feel like anything malicious or nasty could happen.
It's almost like Russell T Davies is at his best when he's following the beat of his own drums and not responding to anything.
It's pretty good. Nailed on the head. This stuff is fucking magnificent.
It's so great!
I can't believe I have to go back to bashing on this episode after this.
I could spend 50 minutes in this place.
I know that Brexit Britain is happening outside, but this feels like good Doctor Who. It's clever. I thought I was clever.
Oh, it's so good. Like, that's the worst part, isn't it? That Russell does just keep coming back and showing you, no, I'm still in here. I can still be brilliant.
I've got the juice.
But we can't overthink it now because fun is happening.
Yeah. I'm big into fun. I'm big into Donna murdering a canonical mother in front of her children.
Anything to add?
Bitch had it fucking coming.
Choosing not to comment.
Beautiful. So the episode still does have the source. It has the aforementioned juice.
So another complaint I've had is that Russell is typically just so bad at the fan wank. Like, I cannot imagine somebody starting on this episode, with these specials, I mean.
Donna saved the entire universe by taking the power of the Time Lords into her mind.
But now we have this sequence, which is so good! And it's such an amazing way to catch people who haven't been watching the whole show up with what happened. And it's like, Russell, if you're capable of this, why aren't you just doing it?
Are we finding ways to complain about the coolest Doctor Who scene in many, many years?
She lives on in a paving slab.
Well, that's all right then.
You know, I quip, but I think I would have liked this scene to have been the core of the episode.
Right.
It's only in this scene that I really feel that the Doctor and the show is on its last legs. And finally, suddenly, I'm like, oh, we're in communication with, like, Twice Upon a Time now? That adds some dimension, especially as this episode is basically going to do Twice Upon a Time's beats again.
And again, like, I give Russell shit for a lot of things, but, like, the fact that he's not just pretending Chibnall didn't happen, and he's working off of the flux and 13's angst, like, that's fantastic. I'm so happy he did that.
Somebody had to. The second he turns it off and turns right back into Michael Gough, it just works, man. I see the character just like that. But I'm flip-flopping constantly. It's a very stressful watch for me because I go from absolutely adoring something to hating something else to loving the next bit. And I look at the watch and 30 seconds has passed. And it makes you think, are we overconscious viewers? Or is Russell T Davies writing just kind of like this? Where every line is provocative. Where every line can start a big Twitter thread. Or be the reason that the next season happens. It's tiring viewing. Even when it's good.
I feel like I'm paying for wanting the opposite of Chibnall. Because this is definitely that. Like, absolute nothing versus total overstimulation. Like, pick your poison.
Maximalism, my friend calls it.
I joked about it earlier, but I really was giving Russell the benefit of the doubt. Like, I wasn't that happy, but it's like, at the end of the day, he is a good writer, and that's what we need, so...
You say benefit of the doubt. The second the old gang are announced to return, I'm thinking, oh, okay, so you're doing like an anti-nostalgia tale. And you know this, I talk about this online. I just sort of assumed that it would be critical because I was giving Russell Davies the benefit of the doubts. That he would have something to say with the Z-list returning, with Mel being back, with going back to the past.
Like, what else could it be?
There's lots of anti-nostalgia tales at the minute, and it didn't even have to be cynical about it. Just Russell, who made a cultural artifact, just had to say something about it, give his 2 cents. And I guess he did. And his 2 cents was, I got it all right the first time round.
I was not hoping it was going to be an anti-nostalgia tale, because my personal rule for anti-nostalgia is that if you actually do bring back old actors and iconography to tell an anti-nostalgia tale, it is, by its nature, insincere.
I didn't want it or not want it. I just saw a pattern, I guess. I just thought, like, back in the Moffat days where everything would have a clever point to it, even if we weren't aware on it first viewing.
I don't want to project desires onto you, but I think what you wanted was something.
Being shown postmodernism and then just going straight back to good old modernism. Sorry, cut that thought. If you're having a good time, and you know you feel fine, alright.
This is another area where coming after Chibnall is a problem because, like, yes, objectively, this is fun. This is ham. This is a good use of your guest star. But we just did this! We did this 3 episodes ago!
And if you give Chibnall flack for repeating things that his predecessor did just very recently, you have to do the same for Russell. I think this is awesome, and the coolest thing...
Yep.
That's amazing.
Good old Russell body horror.
Scary. Properly scary and camp, uniting the two. I think Russell is onto something very clever when he says pop music is vicious, pop music is scary, and it's competitive and mean. I'm down for another Saxon thing, because even if it's tired, it's his vision of what a villain is.
But this is the toy maker, is my complaint. Like,
oh, what? You don't think Bill Hartnell and Michael Gough would do the Charleston together?
Russell thought of the bit independent of the character, and you can't say that's not what happened.
I take every single line of dialogue in a Russell script now on a case-by-case basis.
I know.
That sounds so sad and joyless. But in this one instance, I'm happy to let that go because it's scary and effective and it made me actually fear for the companions.
Can we talk about how weak sauce this is as an ending bit, too?
Well, they've given a weird amount of dialogue to the galvanic beam.
All staff initiate galvanic activation. Bring up the beam.
Galvanic beam payload boarding.
Platform locking at level 55.
Got the galvanic beam.
Platform in motion.
Galvanic beam in position.
Galvanic beam, reset and reload.
Galvanic beam resetting properly.
It maybe has had more lines of dialogue than his plan, which is very funny. So maybe the galvanic beam just manning a turret on the building and turning it around is his ultimate plan.
Oh, I just realized. The actual plan of the Giggle and turning people against each other, that's just not even on the board anymore, is it? Like, we have completely abandoned the premise. Oh, this episode just went down a letter grade.
There aren't people trying to get into Unit. Unit themselves have not turned, it's just not. It's a non sequitur. Because Russell's done with the Doctor Who plots. The point of this episode is to get the old gang back together. It's to have an old 60s villain be racist. And it's to do the subversion. The whole episode is an aid of Ncuti's introduction.
It's a distraction method, and I'm ashamed to say I fell for it. I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I am Boo Boo the Fool. Put on my nose!
You're not Boo Boo the Fool. Boo Boo, don't say that about yourself. Boo Boo, we love you. But yeah, you look in the background, and Mel is here. And Donna is here. And I just think, right, yeah. The Giggle.
I seriously was not planning on finding new problems I have with the episode in this viewing. I literally just watched this again yesterday. But...
Okay, Twitter had made me think that he actually did get shot in the balls. All the edited photos. I believed. Okay, that came as a bit of a shock to me. I thought the 14th Doctor was killed by being shot in the balls. Oh, it's so laboured. Hey, you got any more nasty words you want to throw at it? Because now's the time before it gets very, very good.
I mean, I just realized we failed to talk about the cancel culture line at all, so we'll have to find somewhere to fit that in.
Well, all I'll say is that Russell Davies hasn't commented on the John Barrowman stuff and actually seems to think the other way about it. But, sack Russell T. Davies, sack Jane Tranter, sack Bonnie Langford.
I'm just sitting here reflecting on all of this, realizing that I might never have fun again.
No!
Like, he always dies in the lamest way because it doesn't actually matter. Then again, Jodie Whittaker just died getting shot by a laser, so what do I know?
2 lasers in just as many days. The Doctor's not doing too good at the minute.
It's almost like the show has become a farce or something. Yay!
Woohoo! New life just got injected into this TV show just like that. And that is the shot to do it with.
Youth!
That shot is killer.
It really is.
It lands the whole thing. What's the implication? That, myths are coming true now and this is like a Time Lord myth? Mate, if even that...
Davis, I'm going to say the bad words now. I'm going to say them, and I'm going to mean them. Who cares?
No, those aren't the bad words. Those are the correct words that I know.
This is so good. How can you possibly get bogged down in thinking about it? Because what we're seeing here is a Doctor, I'm just going to say it, possibly the best first impression that any actor has ever made in the role.
Ever. There's always a settling in stage with an actor. Ncuti didn't have that. Ncuti is doing it right off the bat.
Because this is an actor who never even crossed my mind as a casting choice, but the second he was announced, I was like, oh yes, not just yes, but obviously. A man who just exudes so much energy that he's just strutting around in his undies and no one's even commenting and I don't even notice because my eyes are up there, may I just say.
Respectfully looking. I think it's so funny that the toy maker's actually genuinely thrown, but is still trying to keep composure. He's upstaging the toy maker and David Tennant, the most popular Doctor ever. He's sharing a frame with them. He's sharing a set piece. We don't even know who he is yet. And your eyes are constantly on him. He's constantly got the most interesting line reads.
Immediately proving us 100% right that this Tennant shit was nonsense and we should have just gone straight to him.
We got some really great David Tennant performances out of it. He got to act his heart out and go big for 3 episodes.
My man has changed much over the years, but he still can't write an ending to save his life. We are back, baby.
I tuned out on first time viewing completely as this was happening, but I just kind of enjoyed that sequence. I thought the choreography was a bit better than I remembered. Even on broadcast, I'm like, isn't the obvious visual you do here like something where a second person actually helps? Like, if you play a big game of rock, paper, scissors, having a second person breaks that game. That is cheating, and you will win.
Gatwa being here is the real reason the episode is here, and he's not even pretending otherwise. To which I say, like, boy, imagine if we had a whole episode that was actually thematically connected to Gatwa being here. Tell stories!
I've seen Russell Davis in person since this episode aired. I've seen Chusa Gatwa in person since this episode aired. And I've...
Fuck off, Russell! Sorry.
Yeah, it's that beat by beat, second by second thing again, isn't it? It's a roller coaster. If you look at how good this episode is on a graph, it will be zigzags. This is the scene that I clown on the most. I meme this line constantly.
But the Time War, Pandorica, Mavic Chen, I loved her. I loved her.
He brought up Mavic Chen,
yes, he did.
I honestly don't know if I can think of a more embarrassing reference to make. Why did you do this, Russell?
And Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth is gone. Can you believe it? I loved that woman. David Tennant, Doctor, probably needs a rest. Is that a disrespectful observation? To say that the revival is kind of on its last legs?
I don't know if it's disrespectful. I feel like there almost is just a general neutral objectivity to it. Like, the thing is, I truly don't think Russell hated the Chibnall era, because, you know, why would he? What could he take it as other than flattery?
It's on BBC One. Marvellous.
I think the basic problem is that these specials were the first on Disney Plus, when honestly they should have been the last on the BBC, and then Church of Ruby Road should have been the first on Disney Plus.
I'm trying not to think about the producer angle. You know, if we have producerly priorities, the show is nothing but an exercise in misery at this point.
I don't have that problem to the same degree you do, so I let myself indulge occasionally.
Shade.
On the other hand, you would think that if this doctor has to just live life as a human, like, no, actually, why does he need the TARDIS? Like, should not being separated by it be the point?
Because
surely.
Every single Davis finale is about having your cake and eating it too. The word that I get off of this episode is exhaustion. And fittingly, that's what the main character is going through. Exhaustion from the series Doctor Who. And I just can't believe he was so bold-faced about it.
Yeah, because we're supposed to be leaving that exhaustion behind and going forth with new energy, but we're not.
No,
the exhaustion is going to go on.
This is a rebranding exercise, what we're watching right now. Calling it Series 1, it all comes back to this one scene where we're not moving on. It's completely artificial.
I've been trying not to give Davis too much shit about this, but this really is the moment where it's the new version of Who letting the old reboot behind.
Oh, don't.
It's just like David Tennant being the face of that. Like,
so Russell gets it.
I just have to say it. Russell, come on, though.
It's shocking that Russell T Davies understands the need to move over and let the youth in, but he cannot fathom someone else doing it before him.
Like, I would almost appreciate it if Russell was back to just do these specials.
In a perfect world, I think if you got 3 specials, I would have given 1 to Russell Davis, 1 to Stephen Moffat, and 1 to Chris Chibnall.
And then that's it.
Bye. And then they all wave at the screen. They wave goodbye as the credits roll.
Yeah, and then there's just new people.
And maybe you could justify calling it a different fucking show.
It feels like Doctor Who might have just lost its last opportunity to let go and move forward.
Jumped its final shark, as I said that summer 2 years ago. Don't have faith that there is a new core in this episode, that there is a new vision, that there is a new show, and that there is a new target audience. I think it's just us. I think it's us forever, and that terrifies me.
Like, I'd kind of be happy for the show to leave me behind and just become a casual fan while a new audience gets something out of it. But
it's just not my decade, it seems, with this show. But I want to give the TV to a 10-year-old kid. But the 10-year-old kid is not presenting itself? Sam, where is this image going? What a strange thing to say. The generational handover is not happening in multiple different ways.
How are you supposed to give it to a kid when the man who is currently running the show was present on Noah's Ark? You know?
I can't endorse this. I believe it completely. I will not support this. We're going to have to outweight him. I think we're going to have to wait him out. And at this point, what's another dud era? And I'm really sad I'm in this position because a lot was riding on me enjoying this run of Doctor Who. But I can't lie to myself, and I won't make special exceptions for one showrunner when I've been so on the ball with another, you know?
I hate to be that guy, but how much was really running on you enjoying the season of Doctor Who?
Well, let's just say the Sertraline is coming in clutch this week. Listen, it's like who's the current president or prime minister, right? That's who the showrunner is.
No!
That's who the showrunner is. It absolutely does impact your day to day. And this was the moment that Sam deleted his channel. He'd said one hot take too far. One hot take too far. It's time to move over and let the fresh blood in.